Hello, everybody. Welcome to my live stream from Music with Mr. Reyna. I'm really excited you are all here. I'm just going to take a quick second to make sure everything is set up correctly. Just going to check the stream, make sure all the sound is on. This is the first time that I'm doing this, so I'm going to, I just want to make sure everything is as good as it can be. I do think my voice can be heard, so even if you miss the live stream, you can always come back and watch it later. Again, this is my first time doing this, and so you might need to bear with me if it's not perfect. I apologize, but I'm just really excited to share a few things about my channel and really excited to give you some tips and advice for making YouTube videos. And one of the most common questions I get asked about my channel is how I make my videos and what software that I use. And this is a time for me just to go into some detail about all of that. Okay? I don't want to take too much of our time at the beginning. I'm sure some people will come on in a little bit. So I'd like to just go ahead and get started and start with our welcome overview here. So in this live session, I will be I'll do a short introduction of me and my channel. And then I will do a software overview, basically showing you which software that I use. Then I'll be doing a video walkthrough where I will go through a few of my videos and showing you how they're all put together. And then I will do an audio slash music walkthrough where I will go through how I produce and record and compose some of my music using Logic Pro. And then I will go into my film equipment, showing you how everything is set up. And then I will go into the audio hardware that I use. Then I will share with you tools and resources that I use, just general stuff. And then at the end, if anyone is still here, and if anyone would like to, I will do a question and answer session for anyone who is interested in that. And you can always put in the chat anytime, excuse me, anytime you have a question. Hello, Miss Mackie. Anytime you have a question or something you'd like to share or ask during the live stream, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and just go into a little bit about my channel, Music with Mr. Reyna, and one of my passions is making music engaging for kids and their teachers. So my channel had its first upload in October of 2025, 2009. No, October 25th, 2019. And since then, I've uploaded 333 videos with 18,800 subscribers, totaling about 4,276,000 views. And really, the biggest number for me is the millions of kids that I've probably reached through this channel. I'm really passionate that kids should have a positive experience with music. Kids should have a positive experience with music education. They should walk out of their teachers' classrooms just feeling good about themselves, feeling good about music. And that's part of my goal with my channel, is just to provide resources for teachers and even some parents to provide their students or children with a joyful experience in music. Okay? So how do I make... Oh, and also I do have an Instagram channel, and I'm also on Patreon if you would like to support me. So how do I make my videos? What do I use? What are the tools? What are the resources that I use for my channel? So I'm going to go ahead and go into that now. The biggest tool that I use to make my videos is Final Cut Pro for video editing. So Final Cut Pro is a Mac OS software. I'll get into that just a little bit. For music, to make my music, I use Logic Pro. And then for animation, which is like more detailed, complicated animations and stuff, I use Adobe After Effects and Apple Motion. And then for music composition, if I ever need to write anything out in a score format, I will use Dorico. I used to use Finale, but if you're familiar with Finale or the music education or the music composition community, you will know that Finale was recently discontinued. It still works, but I did transition over to Dorico. And so I'll go into a little bit about that. So before I get to Final Cut Pro. So a lot of this, let me go back. A lot of the software that I use is like paid for and can be quite expensive, or it's not available if you have a Windows PC. So let me talk about this here. these are some software alternatives to the software that I currently use. So for video editing, there's really three that I would recommend. Actually four, but the first one is DaVinci Resolve. DaVinci Resolve is a free professional video editing software. It does have a paid version, but most of the functionality, I believe, is free, and it's on Mac and Windows. Adobe Premiere is one of the industry standards for video editing. It's part of the Adobe Creative Cloud Suite. A lot of people use it. I don't recommend using it on a Mac because it can be quite unstable, but if you're on a Windows, Adobe Premiere is a great option. There's somewhat of a learning curve, but if you commit to it, you can definitely learn it. And then there's a recent one called CapCut, which is growing and becoming popular with YouTubers and content creators. I don't know much about it, but I know some people use it and they really like it. I could put iMovie on there. iMovie is, of course, a Mac software. It's like a very, 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 very basic version of Final Cut Pro. It is very limited, but if you're really just starting out, iMovie is a free software on Mac that you can use. All right, so for audio and music production, for recording music, producing music, an alternative to Logic Pro, which is what I use, is Cakewalk by BandLab. I don't know much about it, but I know it's well liked and it's used a lot. Cubase is a great one. It's made by Steinberg, who also makes the Dorico composition software. Then there's Ableton. I believe I spelled that wrong, but there's Ableton, which is really, really popular with electronic music production. There's several different tiers of it. I think there is a free version. Definitely check that out if you're into making more electronic music. But of course, it can really be used for anything. And then there's FL Studio, which is FL stands for Fruity Loops, and I don't know much about it, but I know it's also heavily used a lot with music professionals. And then GarageBand, which is a Mac only. The GarageBand is great for starting out with music production. It's if you're wanting to get into Logic Pro eventually, and you don't have the money, or you're just starting out, GarageBand is a great alternative to that. All right, so for animation, I'm not too familiar with animation software alternatives, but there's Blender, HitFilm, Nuke, and Wax. Blender is a amazing animation software that is completely free, but there is a very steep learning curve. I don't even know how to use Blender, so you will have to learn how to use it. And yeah, I don't know, but these are some good animation software alternatives to Adobe After Effects. All right, and then music notation, there's MuseScore, which is free. MuseScore is a great platform, completely free, and relatively easy to use. There is Sibelius. You might already be familiar with Sibelius if you know music composition software. Notion 6, and then Notefly is a online web browser-based composition software that, in my opinion, is pretty easy to learn. Very, very user-friendly. Okay, I think I'm ready to get into the software I use now. Yes. So the main software that I use for my videos is Final Cut Pro. Final Cut Pro is a very, very amazing software to use for video editing. So for the price, it's not cheap. It is $299, about $300. But what I say about that is it's a one-time purchase. It is not a subscription, which in the current day and age, having software be a one-time purchase that you own and you get free updates. All the updates have been free for current users. I think that's really, really, really big. To only have to pay once and you essentially get the software for life is really, really, really big. So yes, it is pricey, but for me, it was an investment that has come through, and it's just been amazing. It is Mac OS only, and there's basically everything you can do to professionally edit videos. Color grading is not super amazing in Final Cut, but if you're just starting out, it's probably not a big deal for you. It does do some motion graphics, and it integrates with Apple Motion, which I'll get into in a little bit. I won't go through over that, but essentially it just works really, really well for me, especially being a Mac user. And that's where I do all my videos essentially. And yes, it is pricey, but it's a one-time purchase that will take you a long ways. Next, probably my favorite piece of software to use is Logic Pro. Logic Pro is a DAW, or digital audio workstation, and it is $200, but like I said, with Final Cut Pro, it is a one-time purchase and very, 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 very worth it if you're planning to really get into music production. You can do audio recording, basically anything with music production, working with MIDI sequencing, mixing and mastering, and the stock plugins with Logic are amazing. Like, you don't need to buy extra plugins or third-party software for Logic. There's so much you can do in this, and it is fantastic. It's very easy to use, very clean. The library of built-in instruments is incredible. There's so much like built-in sounds and instruments, loops and effects and plugins that it's just, I think it's worth honestly more than $200. People use it professionally, but yet I think it's also accessible for beginners. Logic Pro is how I started my music production, and yeah, Logic is how I started my music production career. And I bought it like maybe probably more than 10 years ago, and I just never, I've never stopped using it. It's great. Okay, for more complex video animation and composition stuff, I use a combination of Apple Motion and then After Effects. Apple Motion is a $50 one-time purchase, which I think, again, is also very, very, very worth it. It is Mac OS only, and compared to After Effects, it's a little bit more limited in scope and ability, but it's really easy to use if you're not super into video editing and animation and things like that. It's really, really great for integration with Final Cut Pro. You don't have to export an animation and then re-import it to Final Cut Pro. There is a setting basically where you can just save it into your file system, and then Final Cut Pro will automatically pick it up, and you can just put it right into Final Cut Pro. It's really, really great for that. All right, so and then there's After Effects, and After Effects is really an industry standard when it comes to animation. And it's a Mac and OS, it's a Mac and Windows platform. It is a subscription service, $22.99 a month US dollars, or $59.99 a month for the Adobe Creative Cloud, which is a suite of different apps like After Effects and Photoshop and Illustrator and more. It's worth it for me. I use the $59 a month because I use multiple Adobe apps a lot. So it has been, I wish it wasn't a subscription service, but it is what it is. And that's what I use. It's very versatile. It can do a lot, very advanced stuff, but it does require a bit of a learning curve. It's not super easy to use right away. It took me a while to really understand how to use it. But so that's just something to keep in mind, but you really can do a lot with After Effects. I don't use After Effects to do everything. I use it just for little things like the bouncing beats in my videos, or the vocal expiration things, if you've seen that, like the little thing going across the screen with the particle effects and things like that. So more detailed animation stuff is what I use After Effects for. Okay. All right. So now it is time for a video walkthrough. I will go through a few of my videos that I have done recently and showing you how they work and how the software works. And I will just go into that now. So I'm going to go to Final Cut Pro. Here we have Final Cut Pro, which is where I spend most of my time when I make my videos, unless I'm working with the music, which of course is Logic. So here is one of my recent videos. This is the Balloon Poison Rhythm video I uploaded a few weeks ago. And let me just zoom out on the timeline here. It's fairly complex because there's just a lot of moving layers here. So this is a timeline here. This is a timeline. It's called a magnetic timeline. It doesn't really use layers like some other platforms do. It's just these clips are like, quote, I guess, magnetically attached to each other. And so over here you have your project assets, or whatever you want to call them. I think there's a name for it, but basically all the pictures, images, videos that go into your project. Here is your libraries. Final Cut Pro organizes projects into libraries. And so like here is my Poison Rhythm library, and each event, so these are called events, each event is a video. So I have my DJ Poison Rhythm I did a few years ago, Ice Poison Rhythm, Island Poison Rhythm, the Glitch one that I did, Snowman one, and so they're all organized into events within my Poison Rhythm library. So if I go over here, this is the, I think it's called the inspector window. This is where you really tweak each multiple parameters for different assets. So I can make this balloon bigger or smaller. I can change the opacity of the balloon. I can, let me click on the background. I can change the cropping Okay, I can do that and just do all sorts of stuff here. You can do keyframes, and I'll go into that in just a little bit. This is where your color grading is, so I can change color. I don't use this a whole lot unless I'm working with footage or like myself, but that is there. I hope I can delete that. Okay, this is, I don't use this. This is just like detailed information about each clip. I actually don't know what that is, I'll be honest with you. Okay, let's go to, okay, let me talk to you about how this is put together. So let's start from the beginning. We see this background here. This is a stock background image I got from Motion Array, which is this website here. I'll talk to you a little bit about this website in just a little bit. Motion Array is a great website for stock audio, video, plugins, and things like that. And so I will double click on this clip here, which is called a compound clip, which is like several clips combined into one. And as you can see here, the original clip is just about a few seconds long, maybe 15 seconds long, and I just copied it a bunch of times, and then I had a transition to where it blends into the next one. You can kind of see it right now. The clip is repeating, but I tried to seamlessly blend the clip so it doesn't like suddenly repeat, because without it, it looks like this. Yeah, so you want that transition in there if you're using a background and you want it to seamlessly repeat like that. I mean, there's ways to make it look even more smoother, even more smooth, but this is fine for me. Okay, so that's the background, and let's go through the video. That's me, just a funny, silly little intro. I animated this balloon, not with Motion or After Effects, but with Final Cut Pro. Let me go to the balloon here. This is the balloon, and this is another compound clip. All right, so here it is here. This is the balloon image that I got from Shutterstock, and these are the notes here. I will talk about how I made the notes come up. Yeah, I will talk about that in just a second. So to make the balloon go bigger, I went over to this here. So this is the transform, basically changing the way it looks. And so I had the scale, which is how big it is, set to 0. And then I use keyframes. Keyframes are super, super, super important when it comes to video editing and animation. So here, this little thing right here, if you can see that, it might be a little small, but this is a keyframe. So if I move the playhead to that keyframe, you will see, right there. So if I move it there, you will see that the scale is 0. And then this is about a halfway point, about 55, as you can see the balloon is growing. And then this keyframe, which is slightly off of the end of the clip, means that it's now at 100. So from this keyframe to this keyframe, the value of the scale is going to change from 0 to 100. So that's how you get the growing effect here. Okay? Excuse me. And then so I attached the balloon. I didn't attach it. I just kind of moved it over to me. And then it pops. And then this title I made right here, I didn't animate this myself. This is from Motion Array. You can download like different title effects, and it's an Adobe After Effects file. And I downloaded it and opened it in After Effects and edited the text. And so it basically animates itself. I don't have the skills to animate something as complex as that. But Motion Array is great for things like this, where you have different you can animate like plugins and templates that have already been created by somebody else. Okay, there's a title, and there's the poison rhythm there. All right, so let's talk about how each pattern pops up. So I used the same idea for the other balloon I showed you to make the balloon grow larger. Actually, wait, it's right here. So if you can see here, there's a keyframe that has the balloon basically at 0, and then it pops up to 100. And then you see the music pattern there. Let me talk about how I make the music patterns or the music notes. There's different ways to do this. You can use a music notation software. But for me, the quickest thing is using a font. So there's a font that I use that I actually created, like font as in like the way text looks on a computer. I created it myself, but it's based on another font that's popular. Basically, what you can do is type in your notes. And N is for eighth notes, Q is for quarter notes, H is for half notes. Y is for 16th notes. Yep. And then if you want to do rest, you push shift and then whatever value the note you want. So if you want a quarter note, you click Q for quarter note, and that's a rest. Half note, wait, no, that's not correct. Sorry, half note is H, and then half rest is shift. Wait, half rest is shift H. A 16 note rest. Oh, I didn't create a 16 note one. Anyway, so you get the idea. There's also other ones that I have created, other symbols and things like that. It's not finished yet. Like there's still things I want to add, but it's actually based on a different font that I will share with you in just a little bit called MusicSync. MusicSync is a really, really, really cool font where it turns your whole keyboard into a music notation thing. So you see, I'm just typing random things on my keyboard here, and all these notes pop up. So again, if I want to do ta, ta, ti, ti, ta, Q, Q, N for 8th notes, and then Q. And so it's great. The only reason why I don't use this font and that I created my own font was because I don't like the spacing of the rest. So if I do ta, ta, rest, ta, to me the rest looks not like it should be a little bit larger and spaced a little bit differently. And there's really no way to do that. So this is how you can type in music notation. I will share a link to MusicSync. Do I have it here? Let me see if I can just load it up real quick. MusicSync font. It's a free download available on FontSpace. Yeah, and here's all the glyphs for the font. So I highly recommend doing that if you're into making your own notational videos. So if you're doing like PowerPoints or Google Slides and you just want to type in something really quickly, that's a really great option for you. Okay, so going back to the video, I don't even remember what the original pattern was. Let me see if I can go all the way back. Can I go all the way back? All right, there we go. Okay, so here's the first pattern, and then, all right, let's talk about the bouncing beat. This is a big one. I really value in my videos being able to show the beat visually with I call it the bouncing beat. And there's two ways you can do this. The first way is to use a plugin. Over here are the plugins that I have. This is a third-party plugin called Pixel Film Studios Karaoke. And I use it for two different things, and I'll show you the other one in a little bit. But what I want to show you here is the ball, let's just do ball forwards. Okay, so as you can see here, there's like this line, and then there's these things that you can control. Let me just quickly, let me just move this with the transform tool. Oh, can't do that apparently. I'm just gonna quickly do this. Actually, because this video is in 3/4, I guess I can't really do it for this one because I only have 3 beats. And this plugin is meant for 4, but that's okay. Can you do it for 2? Oh, you can do it for 3 words. Anyway, so basically, with this, you go over to the object location, and you can animate it with keyframes here. And you can just drag this to where you want it to go. And then with keyframes, you can animate it, the ball bouncing on the different notes. You can also substitute it with something using a drop zone, like a different picture or something, like a balloon if you're doing the balloon video. This is very, very great if you want to do something like that. But I don't use it because there's a few things that I'd rather control myself. Like you can't really control the curve of this because, in my opinion, I want it to have a sharp bounce, where this is like a curvy bounce, and I don't think you can really control that. So let me tell you how I create that. So I'm going to go to After Effects now. Oh, I meant to have something else open. Sorry, I just got to open up this. Okay. Good, open quickly. So this is the project I made for the balloon. So After Effects is a very, very advanced piece of software. It's got a bit of a learning curve, but I think if you commit to it, you can make it work. So here is the timeline here. These are the different layers of balloons. So I have pattern 1, pattern 2, pattern 3. This is your project assets over here. effect controls, and these are other various controls as well. So let me zoom in here on this balloon here. As you can see, I have drawn a path for the balloon to bounce. When I did this, I first created the whole video without the bouncing thing. So I went through and added each of the patterns here, each of the blowing up balloons, and then I did the poison rhythm effect. And then once most of the video was done, I exported it as a draft and I imported it into After Effects. And it's hidden right now. So here's the draft version of the video. Okay, and then that's when I animated the balloon. I'm not gonna go into too much detail because it is quite tedious, and I think you need to kind of get a understanding of how After Effects works if you're wanting to do something like this. But what you need to know for this is how to move an object along a path. So go and Google or search on YouTube, After Effects move object along path. That's really what you need to know to do something like this. So as you can see here, I have the position, which is a keyframe here, and then each keyframe is a point here on the notes. And you can actually adjust. I can actually adjust each keyframe position here, adjust the handle and the curve of the path. Okay. And let me just do it real quickly, show you how I would do it. So, so you may not know what I'm doing, but maybe just so you might have an idea. So you have to create a new solid. I'm just going to leave it red solid here. It doesn't really matter where the layer is. In fact, I can actually hide it. Nope, gotta figure that out later. I can actually hide it, and then what I have to do is go to the pen tool, and then I have to. This is where I draw out the path. Okay. The pen tool is also very tedious to use. You have to kind of learn how to use the pen tool because there is a method to using it. Okay, and then I'll just draw that here for when the balloon goes off. Now what I have to do is go to the solid layer. I have to click the arrow, and then you're going to see this mask right here, mask 1. Click on mask path, Control or Command C to copy that. This needs to be selected. Then, all right, let me pull in a balloon. Here's my balloon pointer. It doesn't show up because the layer is over here. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller by going to Transform and then Scale. All right, so assuming you have the mask copied with Control C, I'm going to go to Position, about right there, Control V to paste, and you're going to see these keyframes here. I'm going to stretch out this a little bit, and you can see now the balloon is going and bouncing on these notes here. Now you have to time it. I created a little click track that lets me visually see the beats and the notes of the pattern. So what I would do is, like you can see, I've already done it here. I align each keyframe to the visual guide that I made. There's a lot more you have to do, but that's the basic idea. You just got to tweak it a little bit, okay? And so that's the bouncing balloon there, and then that process is essentially the same for any kind of bouncing beats for any pattern that you make, okay? And so what I did is I just had to repeat that for each pattern because each pattern is different. Each pattern is going to look slightly different when it comes to where it's bouncing. It is tedious, but it's worth it for me. Okay, so let's go back to Final Cut Pro, and then basically, let's see. I'm trying to remember how I did it. I think I exported this whole project into one file, and then I imported it. Yeah, I imported it here, balloon beat, and then here you can see how it's the video file is playing in Final Cut Pro. Okay, and then for when it gets to the poison rhythm, sorry, before I go to that, for the transition out, I made the balloons. I made the balloons. It's kind of freezing up on me. Oh, I think I know why. I got the message earlier that my storage was almost full. Let me just do something real quick. The thing about Final Cut Pro is it does use a lot of storage, and I have an external hard drive. but the storage fills up really, really fast. So I'm just gonna delete that, and hopefully it'll free up some storage space. Okay, for this, to make the balloon go away, I used a transition here. Final Cut Pro has great transitions. I used a slide transition, and to basically make the balloon just go away there. Like that. And then that's when the next one pops up, and I animated that through keyframes, as I mentioned earlier. Okay? All right. Going on to the next one. So when I go for the poison rhythm, when the balloon hits the poison rhythm, and you want it, and I have a crazy effect, I wanted to make it look like the balloon was, like, you know, when you let go of a balloon after blowing it up and it kind of flies around the room. What I did is I added an effect. Final Cut Pro has great effects here that you can use, and I did what's called an earthquake effect. Let me just start off by doing the without the effects. So this is without the effects. Okay, and then with the earthquake effect on the balloon. I could leave it at there, but I also wanted to create the balloon kind of contorting a little bit. So I used an underwater effect here. So as you can see, it's almost like a water effect, but I think, to me, it kind of looks like, reminds you of like when a balloon is flying around the room. And then through keyframing, I slowed it down. As you can see, the speed gets lower as it moves. So that's, again, using keyframes. So that's really important if you want to animate it a little bit more. Okay, and then you have the next patterns. Oh, and the background here, with the balloons flying up, that was made through, I think it was After Effects. I believe it was After Effects, or was it Apple Motion? I actually can't remember. Actually, no, it was Apple Motion. I downloaded a stock file of different colored balloons, and I put that into Adobe Apple Motion, and it's called a particle effect. So anytime you have one image or one asset that's duplicated a bunch of different times, that's called particles, or particle effect. So I used a particle effects, and I changed some of the parameters to make the particles go up, and that's why you can see the balloons that are flying up here. Okay. All right, so that is the balloon poison rhythm video. At the end, I always do a little like logo reveal. This subscribe button right here is an asset downloaded from Motion Array. Let's see if I can find that. A lot of my stuff from Motion Array is in one folder. Yeah. So Motion Array has a lot of great titles that you can use. It's really good for subscribe buttons. So if you want to use that, it's a great asset to use, so you don't really have to animate it yourself. And then I thank my patrons here, and like that. And I always leave a few seconds of silence for the ending cards. I used to not do this, and so sometimes those end cards that you see would pop up a little early and obstruct the view of something. So I left some space here for the ending cards, just in case you wanted to know about that. All right, so that's the first project. Let's go to the next project, which is going to be, I think I forgot. Oh, Los Pollitos Dicen, which is a song and movement video that features me. So let me go over to my library. It's under songs, Los Pollitos Dicen. All right, this is a song that my students recently did for a performance. Oop, that is not it. Here. So this is me. I recorded myself using my film setup, and I used a green screen effect to crop out the background, and then I animated the words here like you might see in a karaoke video. So, and I also recorded the song myself using Final Cut Pro. Let me talk about how I imported the footage of myself. Double click on that. So here is the original video file. I have a green screen keyer effect here. So if I turn that off, you will see me in front of my green screen that's hanging in my classroom. Final Cut Pro has a built-in green screen keyer. So if you have a green screen hanging down behind you, that is a great way to, that's one of the only ways actually to crop out a background with fine detail. You can also use a blue screen. If you're ever recording in a green screen, don't wear green because it will make you look very holy. And so with the green screen effect on, the background is cropped out. And so it just these are just extra videos. I toyed around with like an AI processing software that like removes noise and makes it look a little cleaner, but you don't have to do that. So, and this is with the background here. I think I made this background myself using Apple Motion, and yeah, so using Apple Motion, which I still need to get into in a little bit. Don't worry. And then so let's talk about the text here. The text is a karaoke style text using a plugin I mentioned earlier, Pixel Film Studios Pro Karaoke. I showed you earlier the bouncing ball, and then it also has a plugin for color changing words, so words that you can animate. So let me show you something here. Let me disable what I've already done. All right. So let's say, I'll just leave it, you can type whatever you want to here, but let's just leave it that. So over here, you have to go to text sung, and as you can see, you can animate this using keyframes. Again, keyframes are so important. You really need to know how to use keyframes in Final Cut Pro or Adobe Premiere or After Effects. So that's really, really important. Okay, so if I want to animate the keyframes, let's say I want it to start here, I click here on this diamond icon, which is a keyframe, and then I make it go over here. Of course, I time it out with every single word. Some people just like to have it go without emphasizing specific words, but I usually try to emphasize specific words. But for now, I just make it go all the way over here, and then as you can see, Los pollitos dicen pío, pío, pío. And then, of course, you would fine-tune it a little bit to match the words that you are singing, which is what I have done here. So here's what it looks like. Let me show you the individual keyframes here. So it starts here, Los pollitos dicen. And then I had a little pause, and then I continued going. Pío, pío, pío. All right. And as you can see, it's there. And you can also tweak the parameters, like the color of the outline. Yeah, see, it's kind of blue, so I can change that to red or whatever. And then you can also change the width. Okay, so that is called Pixel Film Studios Pro Karaoke. Let me see if I can just Google it real quick. Film Studios Pro Karaoke. I always spell karaoke wrong. I don't know. I never understand why it's spelled that way. So here it is here. I don't remember how much is it. It's not very expensive. Oh, it's on sale. Oh, but it says currently unavailable. Oh, so maybe they've updated it. I bought it so long ago that I don't. I haven't even been to their website. Interesting. Oh, well, it's still not that bad. About $40. I don't know what the difference is in this new one, but anyway, so that's a good tool to use for animating karaoke style words. Okay? All right, so let's move on to the next project, which is sorry, I'm just checking my notes here. My notes are not correct. Let's go back to the slideshow. Oh, B vocal exploration. All right. So a lot of my videos are vocal exploration videos, which are when you have an object go across the screen, and then kids, at least my kids, they have to point with their fingers and go woo. So much for vocal exploration videos, much of that is actually animated out of Final Cut Pro, because Final Cut Pro can't really make objects go into these complex paths here. So this was animated in After Effects, this B here. Okay. The backgrounds were stock footage from Motion Array. So let me go back to After Effects, and I need to open up a new project, B vocal exploration. And it can be done in Apple Motion, but for me, I prefer to do it here. So here is the B. Okay, the B is a stock footage from, actually the B picture is from Shutterstock. And what I did was, So the bee actually looks like this, but I wanted to make it look like it's flying. So what I did is I cut off the wings and then I made a copy of it. And let's see. I think I changed the position using keyframes. You can just make it fly like that. And then when it goes into the pattern, you can see how the wings are flying like that. So for the idea of the bee going around the screen is the same as when I showed earlier the bouncing beat video. Now, if you weren't there for that, so let me show you here. Essentially what you do is you have to create, let me just start over from the beginning. You have to create a new layer, solid layer. I'll just leave it red solid. And you can actually hide it. You don't even need to see it. This is to hide it. Use the pen tool. I'll click right here. And then you just kind of create your own little path here. Again, you kind of need to know how to use the pen tool because it can be tedious. It can be a little complicated. So you'll have to familiarize yourself with that. All right, so let's say I'm happy with that. I have to go to the layer red solid where this path is called a mask or mask path. I click this arrow to show the parameters. Click the arrow again for mask 1, and then I have to click mask path. That has to be selected. I press Command C or Control C on Windows, and then let me just hide the first bee. So I pull the bee into here. That's way too big, so I'm gonna go here, transform, scale, bring it down here to the size that I want, and then you have to go to position. Now, and then you have to position the playhead to where you want the movement to start, like when you want the bee to start moving. Then you press Command V or Control V for paste. And now you can see these keyframes have been generated here. And now the bee flies along the path you've made. Okay, and you can change the duration by clicking this one here to bring it out. So now it's going to move a little bit slower. But as you'll see, my dog is going crazy because we have a delivery. As we can see, I'm going to ask my wife just, sorry, 1 second. All right, as you can see, the bee does not follow along the, does not orient itself. It's like always looking to that side. So what you have to do is go to, oh my gosh, I forgot this again. It's under transform, transform audio orient. The bee has to be selected. Okay, and you go to layer, transform, auto orient. Click orient along path, and now the bee will move along and turn itself. Okay. All right, so there is that. So let's go on to the next thing. Let me go back here. So what I did is oh, and let me talk to you about the little trail thing. So the trail behind the bee is a particle effect. And there is a plugin that I used to use called Trapcode Particular. Trapcode Particular is a really advanced plugin for After Effects to create particle effects. And wait, no, I don't want the video. Sorry, I want the. Yeah, I want the product page. So it's very advanced, but it is very, very expensive. And let me just. Where did it go here? Oh, where is it? 3D particle system for After Effects. Yeah, Trapcode Particular. You can create some really, really complex stuff. Really cool particle effects. And I used it for a lot of my videos, especially like my vocal exploration videos. There's just so much you can do with it for these crazy particles. I mean, this stuff is probably more advanced for me. There's a lot of built-in stuff. The only thing is it's expensive. But if you have a university email address, like I think you might be able to use your teacher email address if you're a teacher. if you have a university email address, you can get student pricing, um, because as you can see, it is $105 a month for the suite and $1,000 annually, which is too much for me. But it's got an education thing where you can um, enter in your university email. But I think mine expired because I used my master's degree email, and it's been a few years, and I think it expired, so it won't let me use it anymore. So I'm kind of sad I can't use this. But if you want to create really cool paths like this, I recommend using Particular. It can also be done in Apple Motion. Let me show you really quickly what Apple Motion is. This is Apple Motion, which is kind of like After Effects, but it's a bit simpler. It's a bit it's a bit more user friendly, I would say. I was creating a transition effect where the first clip breaks away and falls down to reveal the second clip. Let me see if I can find a project that I used for. Oh, here's the balloon thing that I made, I think. That's not it. Oh, that's the balloon background. Oh, okay. Never mind. I ended up not using that. Oh, here's where I made the Los Pollitos background that I mentioned earlier. Yeah, so I used Apple Motion has what's called generators, which are I don't know what you call it, like whatever this is, some sort of like film effect. I can put a grid in here, and you can edit the grid parameters by going to the inspector. You can animate stuff. Yeah, so that's just a grid apparently. It does have a particle effect. Apple Motion does have a particle generator. Let me just open up a new project. With Apple Motion, if you're using the Final Cut Pro, you can use different how to say there's different project types. There is going to be titles, or the main project here, which is like a just general, an effect file, generator, transition, or title. Let me go with just generator. And so let's say I want to create a particle effect. So it has some built-in stuff here. So let's say I want to do this bubble thing right here. So as you can see, these bubbles are floating up. You can go in, select the layer, go to inspector, and you can animate various parameters. Let's see. I'm not going to go over all of this, but you can change the birth rate, which is how many of them there are. Okay. See, now there's a lot more bubbles. Now, the more particles there are, the more resources it's going to use for your computer. So if you have a lot, then it's going to take a lot. It's going to demand a lot from your CPU. Okay. You can change the life, which is how long they last after the particles have been generated. So, oh, I just realized. Sorry, the screen is like this. Sorry, I just realized it was off my screen a little bit. If you notice that my screen, if I'm doing something and it's off the screen, like you can't see it, please let me know. Okay. What was I doing? Oh yeah, the bubbles. So here are the bubbles, and again, you can just tweak it to however you want to. So this is a great alternative to using After Effects and the Trapcode Particular. Okay, so let's go on. I know I spent a lot of time on this. Let's go on to... All right, so I've done that. Let's go through... Okay, let's talk audio now. There's so much more I could talk about when it comes to video and how I make my videos, the tools that I use, but I would be here all day, and I don't want to do that. So let's talk about... Actually, would love to do that, but I don't think you want to do that. Let's talk about audio. As I mentioned, Final Cut Pro is the main software that I use for audio. I can't think of any other software that I use to record. And so here is a project. This is one of my recent videos, Flute and Drum Dance. This is based off one of the Kate Mon books for orchestral work. And this is I call this my ORF template. So I have these these are the tracks here. We have our recorders here. We have our xylophones and barred instruments. metals, unpitched percussion, woods, toys, which are like auxiliary percussion instruments, and then drums, body percussion, which is great, and then these are just various other instruments. So let me just play this for you. If you can't hear this, please let me know. Here's the mixer down here. Okay, all right, and so Logic Pro can do so much when it comes to audio. So Logic Pro is great for recording something, recording vocals, recording instruments, recording vocals and instruments. It also is great for MIDI, and all of this project actually is MIDI using sampled instruments. A sampled instrument is an instrument that's been recorded, where each note that instrument can produce is recorded. If you think of a xylophone, right? So with these xylophones here, this is a plugin or sample library called Grand Marimba. So if you think of marimba, the people who made this, they struck each bar and they recorded that bar being played. They struck it again a little louder, and then a little softer with different kinds of mallets. And then they did that for every single bar on the marimba. And it was, of course, it's tedious for them, but it's great for us. So, and that's what a sampled instrument is. So I can just play this for you with my keyboard. Sounds great. And I use this to create the sound of an Orff instrument. It's not exactly what a Orff xylophone or xylophone would sound like, but to me, the quality is great, and I really like it. So as you can see here, I've recorded MIDI data. So MIDI is, if you don't know what MIDI is, I recommend looking it up. It's basically musical information. It's not an audio recording, it's musical information. These little notes here tell the plugin called Kontakt what to play on the instrument. So as you can see, if I select this, you're going to see, yeah, see that you can see the keys being pressed down. It's like I was playing it, but it's recorded. The information is recorded. Okay. Sample libraries are, they can be expensive. Most of them require a software called Kontakt, which is a plugin that hosts sample libraries. Kontakt is very pricey. I believe it's around $400 or $500. Again, it's expensive, but it has gone a long way for me. I have so many libraries that I use with Kontakt. It's just I bought it 8-9 years ago, and it just becomes part of my daily life. Essentially, it's so worth it for me. But if you're not planning on working with sampled instruments a lot, it's probably not worth it for you. And so, yeah, so those are my xylophones there. For metallophones, I use a similar plugin by the same manufacturer, which is a vibraphone plugin by Sonicature. And then for my unpitched percussion, I used a plugin from a company called Spitfire Audio called Percussion. It's just called Percussion. It has many different percussion instruments. So if I click here, there's wind chimes. If I click here, there's kabasa. Okay. And so, yeah, and then there's my drums. Another plugin that I use is my body percussion plugin by Embertone. This is body percussion here, so it's really, really, really fun to use. Okay, it's really fun to use and great for body percussion and stuff. Let me go up here, recorders. This is a great plugin also by Embertone called Recorders. It has bass, tenor, alto, soprano, and sopranino. And yeah, it's just great for recorders and stuff. These are just kind of various other ones. There is a boom micer plugin, which I don't know if it's working here. Nope, it's not, because it's in a different location. I had to change something. But you can record boom micers without actually recording them. You can use MIDI data with a boom micer sampled instrument. So it's not going to work here because the project files are messed up. There's also an ukulele plugin that I use. That one's also messed up, so I need to fix that later. I use a piano plugin to mimic like what you might find in a classroom, which is an acoustic piano. I feel like that's a little bit more realistic with an Orff ensemble. It's an upright piano. And a bunch of other stuff that I use here. Okay, so let me go ahead and move on to the next thing. Oh, Dinosaur Poison Rhythm. This is a project that I'm currently working on. One of my newest Poison Rhythm videos that I have not released yet because I'm still working on it. So it's just got to load here. What you're going to see is I call this my everything or master template, which is most of the plugins. Oh wait, no, this is not the one I was thinking of. Oh no, sorry, I've opened the wrong thing. This is a different project. So the Dinosaur Poison Rhythm was originally called Time Travel Poison Rhythm because I was going to create a Poison Rhythm video with the theme of time travel, where each Poison Rhythm section is in a different time period, starting off with like prehistoric times, then it moves to medieval times, and then into like maybe colonial times, and then like the current day and age, or like the 70s or something. But I liked the dinosaur theme so much, I just decided to stick with it. So this project is an example of my master template where I organize all or mostly all of the plugins that I own. As you can see here, there is over 300, almost 400 plugins or tracks. And these represent the various sample libraries that I own. Some of them are stock plugins here. Like, let me see if I can find it. Logic has some great stock plugins here. Some great synthesizers. You do not need to own everything that I own to do all this. Gosh, let me find. Is it ES2? Yeah, look at that. And this comes with Logic. But anyway, so these are all of my plugins, and the reason why I do this is it does help with writing. I can quickly just go to a track and say, I want to add a staccato choir. It's got to load for a second. Turn that up. Okay, or let's say I want to add, I have an African marimba. Let me show you the file here. Not sure why the interface is weird, but, and I have oud or udu. I forgot. I don't know how to pronounce that, but all right. Let's see if the boom micers track will work on this project. Yes, the boom micer one works on here. So we have the boom micers track. Really, really fun to work with. Yeah, so I can quickly and easily access that. So the Poison Rhythm here, let me just play it for you real quick. I wanted to create a cinematic effect, so I used this plugin that I have called Albion 1 by Spitfire. Spitfire is really known for their film composing plugins. This is meant for like film composing or cinematic composing, which does work well for the kind of sound that I want. So here's our Dinosaur Poison Rhythm. Or not. Maybe. Oh, I just realized, sorry, the screen is cut off. Let me just fix that. Sorry, I realized the screen was cut off. You probably couldn't see a lot of this right here. These are all my tracks here, so my apologies. My apologies. Let me just restart this. So this uses a lot of drums, a lot of percussion, and then there's strings here. Let me just play the strings for you. I don't really use I didn't really use a notation software for this because I just like to improvise on the piano and just record what I like. And here are the patterns. So I basically just improvise different patterns, and I use this score feature for Logic to make sure that nothing gets repeated. I mean, sometimes patterns can repeat, but just to make sure I have a variety of patterns, I can see all the patterns that I have created here, because I mean, you can't really read MIDI data as like notation patterns. So I use this feature here to make sure I know what I'm inputting as far as patterns. Like, these are what the students will read and clap along to. And then I created a crazy dinosaur effect here. So the poison rhythm starts here. Pause there, and then the video will reset, and then it starts again a little bit faster. Goes on to the next pattern. Alright, so that is my time travel poison rhythm project, and now I'd like to talk to you about the next project, which is it's not a project, but it's actually a feature that I love with Logic Pro. So Logic Pro recently, about a year or two ago, added a new feature called Stem Splitter. Now, if you're a music teacher, you're really going to like this, because I know a lot of teachers are always asking, how do I remove vocals from a song? How do I create an accompaniment track for a song? And there's many, many different ways to do that. But if you happen to own Logic and you use it for music production, this is a great built-in feature. So here's one of my recent videos. Michael Finnegan.
There was an old man named Michael Finnegan. He had whiskers on his chin again. The wind blew them out and they grew in again. Poor old Michael Finnegan. Begin again. There was an old man named...
Okay, so let's say I want to remove the vocals from that song. I'm not going to use a well-known song like a pop song, because this video will be demonetized if I do that. So you have to go to Processing and then Stem Splitter. And then what it does is it isolates or splits up the different components of a song. So you have vocals, drums, bass, guitar, piano, and other. So if I hit apply, it'll take a few seconds, because it's essentially using AI. And one thing to know, if you have a Logic on a Mac, this is only available for M1 Macs, because yeah. Okay, so as you see here, these are the different parts of the song. Let me mute the original one and play it for you.
There was an old man named Michael Finnegan. He had whiskers on his...
Well, let's say you want to remove the vocals. Let me mute the vocal track. Where did the vocals go? Now we have an accompaniment track. Now, it won't sound as good as, let's say, like when you first recorded the song and you just simply didn't record the vocals, right? It's not going to sound as good, because it does have to take something away from the original track. So, but it still sounds pretty good. If I wanted to isolate the vocals and only have the vocals,
there was an old man named Michael Finnegan. He had whiskers on his chin again. The wind blew them out and they grew in again. Poor old Michael Finnegan. Begin again.
And I can even hear a little bit of reverb in the delay that I put in there. So, and here's the drums. Okay, sounds pretty good, right? And same thing for bass. There's no guitar, so it didn't pick up anything on guitar. There's a piano, and then there's just like an other sound effect kind of thing, like synthesizers and stuff. Okay, that is a really, really useful tool. I don't really use it a lot for my videos, but that is a really, really useful. And I just realized, I'm sorry, it's cut off again. If you notice that it's cut off, please let me know in the comments. My apologies. So here it is here. So we have the vocals, drums, bass, guitar, piano, and other. So this is a really, really, really useful tool for removing vocals, removing anything from a track. And so if you want to create an accompaniment video, it's a sing-along video, whatever, it's great for that. So that is Stem Splitter with Logic Pro. Okay? All right, so I think now it is time for my film setup. I would like to talk to you about the equipment I use to record my videos that feature me in there, like to film myself. I use a Sony a6400 camera. Here I have a larger lens than this stock photo here, but this is the camera that I use. It's a great camera for video. I have a Rode. I don't. It's blank because I forgot the model name of it. But I have a Rode microphone that sits on top here for when I need to record myself saying something. I don't use it a whole lot. I haven't used it lately. Because most of my videos are just like me moving along to music, which I don't need to record any audio for that. I have studio lights, and then I have a green screen. Okay, so here is a video. This is how it is set up in my classroom. I don't leave this set up in my classroom, but whenever I usually come in on a weekend to set all this up. It takes about 10 minutes to set this up. As you can see, I have my green screen here, and it's hanging up on these studio lights that I have in my classroom. Okay, and then my camera is here with, you see the Rode microphone on the top. These are my studio lights here. They can be configured to different light settings like cool blue or warm yellow. There's my camera there. As you can see, I have a larger lens on it. I don't remember the exact specifications of the lens, but probably the stock lens that comes with the camera is probably fine. And there's the Rode microphone. Like I said, I don't use the microphone a whole lot because I don't speak in a lot of my videos. I used to when I would record like whole lessons, but I don't really do much of that anymore. I mean, actually, I would like to. I just don't have the time for it. Okay? All right, so let's talk about audio hardware. This is what I use to record audio for when I'm making like my own original music or recording my own arrangements to a song. For microphones, I have, let me see if I can pull, if you can see it here. I have this Audio-Technica condenser microphone. I also have, let me just go on 1 second. For recording instruments, I have these two SC Electronics microphones. These are really great for recording instruments. They're very small and they're portable. You can take them places. But these are what I use to record like my recorder, ukulele, any other instrument that I want to record. Okay, so for audio, I have a M Audio BX5 speakers. I will show that off in just a minute. I will take a video of that and show you. I use these Audio-Technica headphones for mixing. Whenever you're working with music production, it's really important to have a good pair of headphones for mixing purposes, because even with good speakers, there's some details in your music that you want to be able to hear directly with headphones. Okay, so, and then I have an audio interface. If you're using microphones and you want to connect it to your computer, you will always, or at least almost always, need an audio interface. And I use a Scarlett 18i8 audio interface. Scarlett is a great manufacturer of audio interfaces. I will show that off in just a little bit. Okay, so we're getting to the end here. So we have other tools and resources. These are just a variety of different things that I use. So Motion Array is the website that I mentioned earlier. It is a video assets and stock footage website. So it has all sorts of stuff. So I use it a lot for footage. Okay. So let's say I wanted footage of, sure, let's go with summer. Here is, just stock footage of summer. And yeah, they have lots of different options right here. Okay, and I also use it a lot for music. For sometimes in my videos, I'm not too particular on this audio that's used. Like a lot of my steady beat videos, I just use stock sound. So I might go over here to the genre. Maybe I want to do, I don't know, electronic, fun, and upbeat music. Let's see what it gives me.
I figured out what you're looking for.
Okay, so there's all sorts of audio files that you can use, and you can download them with your subscription to this website, and it's not going to get copyright claimed. If it does get copyright claimed, you can dispute it, and then they'll release it. So you can use this, but this however you want to. Motion Array, I think it's like $20 a month, but for me, it's very, very worth it because I use so many of the assets from it. Okay, and it has photo. I don't use the graphics and photos as much, although I think it's gotten better over the years. Because at first it was kind of like bland, but I think it's gotten better. So that could be something worth looking into. So, Shutterstock is the other stock website. It can do images, videos, and music, but I use it primarily for images. It's got a great library of stock photos, and I think it's like $30 a month, which is a bit pricey, but I use it in almost all my videos. You get 10 downloads each month, and it's been a great asset for me. Todoist is where I do all my planning for my YouTube channel. I also use it for my personal and work life, and so you can see all these videos that I have here. These are videos that I would like to do, but I just don't have the time. Well, I don't say I don't have the time, but often I have a video idea and I'm like, oh, let me put that down, and I end up not getting to it. But so I organize this by video type: shorts, Instagram, Patreon, movement videos, and all this here. So if I tend to put more prioritized videos at the top, and you can set dates on it and stuff, and there's like you can put notes in and things like that. So this is just a good basic organizational tool for me to organize my videos and my projects. I store everything in Google Drive. It's really important if you're working with video, large files, audio production, doing a lot of content creation, to store everything properly. There's a rule, like it's called Rule of 3 or something like that. I'm probably saying this wrong, but if you have a lot of data, you want it stored locally on a hard drive, in the cloud, and then somewhere off-site. I guess I don't really follow that, but I have all my videos, all my stuff, all of my data stored on an external hard drive, and it's also backed up to Google Drive. So I follow 2 of that, I guess. But it's really good to be able to store things locally in case something goes wrong, or locally and in the cloud in case something goes wrong or you lose it. And it's good for sharing. All right, Splice is a great website for audio samples, not like sampled instruments like I mentioned earlier, but individual samples. So this is what Splice is. It's got millions of different samples and many different genres, and you can even also find plugins as well. So let's say I want to find a drum and bass sound, which I don't do a lot, but this will play like a preview of all the samples put together, like if it was to be a song.
Left my heart down the line, fading little by little.
Now I may not do that. I mean, I like to use that. I like that style actually, but so let's say you want to do a clap. You just want to clap, or whatever that sound is, snare drum, that snare drum, or let me see if I can find a kick. Basically, it's really good for making drum loops, making drum patterns, but also like just, yeah, so just general like vocal patterns. So if you want to add like audio effects to your songs and your music, or just create your own songs using just samples, this is a great option for you. Okay, let's go to Photoshop and Illustrator. I make all my video thumbnails in Photoshop. It just works best for me, and like I said, I pay for the Adobe Creative Cloud Suite with which is about $60 a month, but it comes with Photoshop, Illustrator, and After Effects, and a few more. So here is my Balloon Poison Rhythm. I actually created multiple thumbnails for it because I also put this on Teachers Pay Teachers. Okay, so here is the thumbnail. So I created everything with Photoshop here. For Illustrator, I use it a lot for different like assets. Like I'm putting this in my next Poison Rhythm video to create the frame. So I downloaded these Vine borders from Shutterstock, and they come in the format of an SVG file, or there's an EPS file that you have to open in Illustrator. And this is vector-based design. which is like, I don't know how to say it, but it's basically how do I say it? Like, you can zoom in infinitely, and the pixels will never like get fuzzy. That's the basic way to say it. But there's a lot of really cool stuff you can do with Adobe Illustrator. All right, let me talk a little bit about my hardware, and I'm going to actually show you a little video of my desk. I've tried to clean it up. It is as clean as it's gonna get, so I apologize if it looks a little messy for you. Okay, so give me a second. I'm going to let me just, I'm gonna change the scene. Okay, so you're not gonna see anything now, and then I have to okay, sorry, just 1 second, because I have to, I'm gonna turn on my iPhone as a camera, but I have to do something first. Let's see if I can get it to work. Okay, is it gonna work? I don't know. All right, so just trying to, I'm trying to get my iPhone camera to work. That's not it. That is just me twice. Come on. Well, this worked earlier, so maybe it's not going to work now. I was going to use my iPhone to show you what my desk looks like. Darn. I don't want to quit this software that I'm using because it'll end the stream. I don't want that. That's really a bit strange. I don't want to take the webcam off my computer. Okay, well, that's not gonna work. You know, what if I just took a picture of everything? Actually, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take a really quick video showing you everything. So I'm just gonna take a video of my Mac, audio interfaces, microphone, and my current setup. Okay, so let me quickly go over to send the video to my Mac, and oh, I just sent it to my laptop, not my Mac Studio. I have two computers. I have a Mac Studio and a MacBook. All right, so you should be able to see it here. I just realized it's a little fuzzy. I think I need to clean off my camera lens. All right, so this is my current setup. You should be able to, oh wait, I just realized you can't, because now you should be able to see it. Okay, so this is my current setup. In the center, I have my Mac Studio. So I have an ultra-wide monitor here that really helps with like large timelines and large music production tracks. That's why I had the problem with the, things cut off when I'm streaming. It only goes to about right here, where the edge of this window is. So everything over here you can't really see. I also have a MacBook Pro that I used to use for work, but when I changed job, I got a better laptop that I use for work, and so I don't use this for work anymore, but I use it for home stuff. I've got my iPad Pro M4 here, and Mac Studio is right there. These are my M Audio BX5 speakers that are really useful for studio monitoring. This is my Audio Technica microphone here. Let's see. These are my audio interfaces here. This audio interface is what my microphone is currently plugged into, what the headphones are plugged into. I have a synthesizer in my room that is also plugged in here. This one here is for my iPad. I sometimes do music production on my iPad, and so I use this to plug my iPad microphones into my iPad. There's a external hard drive there. This is a Samsung T7 SSD, which is really good if you're using Final Cut Pro. You want to put stuff on an your projects on an SSD, not on hard drive, because an SSD is much faster when it comes to video transfers, and we're working with video files. This is an iPhone storage stand right there. The software that I'm using for streaming now is called OBS, which is a free. It's amazing that it's free. It's a free software. Let me just show it to you right here. It'll look kind of funny, but it's a free software that you can configure to stream, and you know, I can move myself around. I can move the video around. So it's a really cool piece of software. Okay, so let's go back to here. Oh, I'm probably not going to show it, but I have a synthesizer called an Arturia Mini Freak, which is amazing. It's a great synthesizer. If you don't know much about synthesizers, it's a great synthesizer to use. Okay. Now these are some links to some various resources I mentioned. Music Sync, Best Music, which is the notation file that I created, Motion Array, and then Pixel Film Studios Pro Karaoke. Okay, I will put a link to this slideshow in the video description as soon as this stream is over, which will be just a few minutes. Okay, right now we have a question and answer session. And so if anyone is available and would like to ask a question, you can ask a question in the comments. I'll wait just a minute or two for that. But if not, okay. So if anyone has a question for me, you can ask me now or ask it in the comments. Okay. You can always email me at awreyna@gmail.com. So I'll wait just a minute in case anyone has any questions. If not, I will end the stream in just a moment, and you can go back in case you missed anything. So if you have a question, you can ask now, but I'll wait just a minute and then I'll end the stream. All right, so I will go ahead and end it there. You're always welcome to ask me more questions. You can make a comment in the video and I can respond to the comment. If you would like to know more, you can, again, follow me and make a comment and say, hey, I'd like to know more about this. If you'd like to you would like me to do another live stream, I can do a live stream about something more specific. Hello, Ruben. I can go into more specific software so I had fun. I enjoyed this. I know this was long, and I would recommend going back and watching different parts of the video. I'll create some chapters to make it navigatable, but I will go ahead and end it here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Thank you, everyone.